Hi, this is Chris Buss with Traders Profit Compass with a midday update for Wednesday, September 9th. Okay, it's about 1 o'clock as I'm starting the video. I just wanted to update everyone on how our game plan has been proceeding today. We had talked about covering our shorts yesterday and then positioning for a bounce today. We've got that. Everything seems to be working according to Hoyle. We've got this level here this morning. We identified at 338. We wanted to get long into this gap, and things are proceeding nicely. Now, as we come up towards this, 342 area, it's probably going to get a little tougher. Not saying it can't punch through. If it does, our next target would be up towards 344.50, 345 in that area. And what I've shared with the mentorship group is when you're in a situation like this, there's no reason to take yourself out of the trade. And what I mean by that, I say it might get harder here, which it might do, but there's no particular reason to close out. Wait till you get some sign of struggle. I mean, if you're trading the 5 or the 15-minute candle, you've got nice gains in the book. You can hold for more. If you wanted to try and scale out, you could do that. But, wait for some signs of struggle or rejection. Otherwise, as soon as you take yourself out of the trade, then it pops above. So I think it pays to have some optionality there. If you wanted to, play somewhat defensive, if you've got, 2 contracts on, you can take one off and take one to the bank and leave one as a runner, something like that. But I don't think there's a reason just because we're coming up towards a known resistance point to just automatically close out. I think with the trend intact until we see some kind of struggle here, I think we can stay long. And remember, the whole idea of what we're trying to do is fade this bounce, okay? So there will be a point, whether it's here, up here, I expect it to stop and then to roll over. Okay, we're going to find out real soon if this whole thing was just a buy the dip like we have every other time, and it just goes on to new highs. And if that happens, we'll get stopped out with a paper cut after a nice gain, filling this gap, and then we can, look for long opportunities if that was truly it. I really think though that at the end of the day, this will fade, but time will tell. We know our levels. Stay long. Expect some trouble here at 342, and then let's see what happens this afternoon. Pretty much the same thing with the Qs. We had identified 275 as a key level. If you got long there, that's great. We hesitated at 277.5, 278. It finally punched through. We've got a resistance level here at 280. That may pose a problem, but the real target is a gap fill up to like 283. And then just like in SPY, at some point this will stall, and then that'll give us a nice objective location to set up a short with a tight stop above, and then we'll see what happens. That may be today, that may be tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see. But wait for signs of a problem before you take yourself out of this trade if you're in the Qs. Moving on to IWM, really nothing happening here today. We got a little lift, came up, came back. Not a whole lot happening here. If you're long, you can stay long against this 151.5, I would think. But otherwise, I don't think there's a lot to do here. If the Qs and SPY stay strong, I doubt this is going to have some big sell-off. I mean, if you're in it, of course, watch it. But if you're not in it, I don't see a particular reason at this juncture to jump in either long or short. SMH having a good day, up 3%, just bouncing off this level here that we identified. We'll see what happens. I've got 162.5 alarmed for a downside break. We've got the 20 and the 8-day declining. That'll be resistance on the way up if it has another up day. We'll decide kind of what we want to do with SMH in the days to come. Facebook getting a bounce, still has a gap to fill. If you're interested in trading that, I think this 278.75 area is the place to get long if you're not already long for this gap fill. Otherwise, I don't see a trade to make right here until and unless the Qs start to roll over. We'll have to, there's a pretty good resistance level here at 278.75. I have seen a decent amount of upside call buying in Facebook, but we'll see. That's not enough for me to just go long. I'd be playing for the gap fill here if you were trying to be long. Apple, pretty much the same thing. I mean, it's putting in a bounce like everything else. There is a little gap to fill above. I don't have that marked in. But if you got long, I mean, you can stay long and ride it for as long as you can. Later into today or even possibly tomorrow if you're feeling good about it and there's no sign of struggle. Amazon, really nice day. I think it's up 5%. Really right out of the gate. Has already filled this gap. And the way it's going, I think it'll be heading towards this 33.35 level. And that'll be the real test, I think, right there. Either there or 3,400. There's a chance it can pop through here and then go up to this level. But nice day so far. Congratulations if you jumped on that long right out of the gate. You've got a nice winner on your hands. Microsoft also just about here to fill the gap. Does have some additional upside to 216 or so. So that one also is riding this bounce nicely up here to fill the gap. Google is the one that's really not doing anything. It's gotten stuck here at gap resistance. If it were to pop above, then it's got room to run. But given the Qs are up so much already and this really hasn't responded, I'd be a little skeptical of jumping on that right away. But if you do, just set your stop below and see if you can get a gap fill. Netflix has been oscillating at the zero line today, really has not participated. Again, I want to make note of how this worked today. As soon as it opened, it made a run here for 520. And you can see that was a level that it got rejected at yesterday, was rejected there again today, and is now back just up a little bit from the open. But that's a good example of a well-defined layer of resistance. If you were, all into Netflix and were day trading it, I mean, that's where you place your objective short at a location that's known resistance. You set your stop just above, assume it's going to get rejected, and it was rejected. And if you got a good entry here around 520, I mean, you're $12 or $15 to the good just on that move. Now, if the Qs break down and Netflix were to lose this 505, you can see a little flat flag forming here. If Netflix were to lose this 505, then you're looking at 497 here at this low, and possibly all the way back to 485. So that's one worth watching. If you're into trading Netflix, or even if you're not, you can set an alarm there. That would be an objective place to try a short if things start falling apart and it loses that level. So that would be a good place to alarm if you were interested in a trade. And also go ahead and re-alarm 520, because if this thing turns around and everybody gets all bulled up, if Netflix breaks 520, that's bullish. I wouldn't hesitate to get long there above 520 and anchor along there if everything goes bull on us. Take that trade, and your target would be back up at 547, 550. No reason it wouldn't head back up there again if things really get bullish here. Tesla, it made a run towards the gap this morning and has pulled back a little bit. If I was interested in trading that, I would have an alarm at 370. You've got a $50 gap to fill right here. That's worth paying attention to. If things get crazy again and everybody wants to pile into Netflix, I would have 370 alarmed. And I would also have, depending on how aggressive you want to be, 340 or 330 alarmed on the downside. If we break this low at 330, we're at least coming back to 300. And then we'll see what happens from there. The next level below that, we identified on the daily chart at 275. So there's potentially $50 of downside and $50 of upside at those levels. So that's a trade worth watching if you want to be active with Tesla. Okay, so just to wrap it up, our game plan from this morning is working nicely. I hope you got those gap entry trades and are kind of milking it right now and seeing how far it'll take us. We will be finding out really soon if this whole thing was a dip to buy or just a reflex bounce off the 50 with more downside to come. So that'll all be revealed either later on this afternoon or towards the end of the week. I will tell you that on the option front, it's been very quiet on the indexes. I have seen a little bit of put buying, but I've also seen a little bit of call buying as well. But nothing, oh my God, no bias at all. It's mostly neutral. So I think there's more than a few people out there just waiting to see which way this thing's going to break. We're not the only ones. So if you're new to the channel and you like the content, please hit the like button and subscribe. I really appreciate the new subscribers that have jumped on board in the last couple days. I really appreciate that. If you'd like all my content sent to your inbox each and every day, over in the show notes, there's links to do that. Registration only takes 30 seconds, and I think it'll be a nice convenience for you to get my content. I'll keep you as informed as possible on things that I'm seeing in the market. And a couple other important option trades, if you didn't get my recent note. Zynga, November 8th calls are going wild. There's been about 21,000 purchased in the last half hour. I can't tell you if that's something's up or just somebody saying this is going back to the highs, which was around 1050 before the rug pull. So just take that as an FYI. Don't go nuts if you want to play that. Do that in moderation. I'm not that familiar with the stock, but that order flow is notable. And just moments ago, Melco Resorts Casino Company, the October 20 calls, some guy just bought 13,500 in one shot. I thought that was notable. But other than that, I haven't seen a whole ton of option activity. I think, like I said, it's a slow day today on the option front. I think people are being a little bit guarded here on whether they want to pile in either long or short. I think they're playing a wait and see game, and that gives me a little confidence as well that I'm not on the wrong side of this. Time will tell, though. I think we'll know real soon which way this thing is going to break. So anyhow, this has been Chris Buss with Traders Profit Compass. I really appreciate the time, and we'll talk to you soon.